Hello, everyone. Shagun Agaja here. So today I want to talk to you guys about creating greater clarity. I did a YouTube short on this already. However, I got a couple of people that reached out and said, hey, you know what? Can you further explain that? Give me a little bit further instruction. The YouTube short didn't have enough information. And so I'm here to further elaborate on this topic. I will say I do like, it's kind of off topic a little bit, but I do enjoy this kind of YouTube platform. The video, maybe even more than the short, just because I can like be my authentic self. I don't have to necessarily rush. I don't want to waste you guys' time off either, but like I can like let my personality, shine a little bit. Let it kind of come through the camera, let it flow. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that process. So without any further ado, and let me just make mention, guys, if there's any other videos, anything that you guys want further information, want further explanation on, please reach out, guys. Literally, I do this because this is something I genuinely want to do. I genuinely want to help other medical students to live a balanced life, guys. And so that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. And honestly, if you guys have anything, please let me know. I'm all ears and I'll do everything that I can to try to create that content for you. Okay. So moving right on into the creating greater clarity, right? Number one, first of all, this concept comes from the book called The One Thing with Gary Keller, right? And what he talks about in this book is that in order to focus, in order to create greater clarity, you need to focus on just one thing at a time, not multitasking, not kind of jumping between tasks. That kind of is a misnomer, right? The idea and how he goes about saying, hey, let's get to this one idea. Let's get to this creating greater clarity at this one spot, right? By a specific question, right? And here's the question. Listen up, guys. I'm also going to put it down in the comments so you guys can actually see what the question is. But here's the question. What can I do, right? What is the one thing I can do such that doing it, everything else will become easier and or unnecessary, right? So it's pretty much saying, okay, we're getting to this very one thing. It's specific because it's just one, right? Something you can do, right? So it's like it's something that's possible, not a could or a would or should. It's something you could do, right? And it's something that by doing it, is going to make something else become easier and or unnecessary. Really, we're talking the domino effect, right? This one thing that you can do, once you get that thing done, it allows everything else to be easier and or unnecessary. And that is the hack. That is the trick. It's like, okay, now you're getting directly to the thing, specifically to what you need, right? So moving on to I want to talk to you guys about utilizing this trick, right? And so in order to I say trick, but really this question, right? Two ways you can utilize it. We'll talk about the first one, which is more so utilizing it on a more large scale by the day, by the week, by the month, right? And I do both, but let's talk about first, let's just keep it simple. And let's just say for the day. Like, so for the day, normally for the day, I'll go ahead at the end of the day and I'll go ahead and answer that one question for each key area within my life, right? So I have my personal, I have my, YouTube, I have my school, I have my, right? I have all these different areas. I don't have any more than 5, but I have all these different areas, right? And for each area of my life, I go ahead and I say, I go ahead and answer that question based off of how I want tomorrow to be, right? So that's the first way that you can do it. The second way that you can do it, number 2, is when you can use it in the moment. I think this is also very, very powerful. The reason why this is powerful is because we all kind of get sometimes stuck in a rut where maybe we're on Instagram or maybe we're just kind of like, mindlessly doing something in order to make time pass because maybe we're procrastinating, whatever it may be, right? Things that we all go through. But in the moment, you can ask yourself, and the question changes just slightly. I'll put this question down in the comments as well, but the question, or in the description, but the question changes just slightly, right? And here's how it changes. It says, what can I do? What one thing can you do right now such that I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on this here. What one thing can you do right now such that doing it, everything else becomes easier and or unnecessary, right? And that's the subtle trick, right? That's the subtle switch right there. Is just the what can you do right now. Okay, it automatically takes you out of the mindset of, okay, let me think about the future, or let me think about XYZ. It says, okay, let's come right now. What can you do right now? Right? So it allows you to own in and really lock into your focus. Okay, next part here, I do want to talk about the components of a good answer. You could break the components down into like 4 or 5 different things, but I want to break it down into 2 key things, right? So when you ask yourself the question, what can I do right now? 2 key things that you need to go ahead and break this answer down in order to make sure that you have a solid answer, right? Number 1, you need to make sure that the answer is evidence-based, right? The thing that you can do, make sure that it's not something like, oh, let me just go try something random. No, success leaves clues, okay? If somebody has done it, and multiple people have done it a specific way, don't try to reinvent the wheel, guys. Do it that way, and then you can maybe add a small layer on top in order to maneuver specifically for you. And that's the process of creation. But you create based off of what has already been created. You build on the foundation, right? So make sure that your answer is evidence-based, research-based. Make sure that it has validity already, okay? Like I said, don't reinvent the wheel. The second component of your answer that I want to talk to you guys about is specifically the answer to the question should legitimately make something else easier and or unnecessary. If the answer does not make it easier and or unnecessary, then it's not the number one thing. Okay. Now, granted, it doesn't matter. Like, say you try it and it's like, oh, well, it doesn't quite work. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, because as we continue on with the process, we'll continue to learn and grow. That's just the process of failure. We never get it right on the first time, right? We don't expect to do that. But however, those are the 2 things I do want you to keep in mind when you are answering the question of, what is the one thing, okay? When you're answering that question, keep those 2 things in mind. Number 1, make sure that your answer is research-based. Whatever the thing is that you can do, make sure it has some evidence and some validity that this does exist already, as people have, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. And then number 2 is, like I said, easier and or unnecessary, okay? So let's go ahead. I want to give you guys an example, just a quick example, and so of both, right? So for the day, right? Today, and so like I have my questions here, right? So for my, in regards to my YouTube content creation, right? My goal for today that I have here is to post 1 long form content on YouTube, share it, and ask people to give me feedback, right? That's the one thing that I could do. Reason being is because I want to get more engagement. Why? Because I want to see how other people are, or how my audience is perceiving the message. I want to make sure that I'm giving my audience something valuable. I want to make sure that I actually am helping people and that I'm addressing the problems that medical students have, okay? So that's specifically for and like I said, right here, it has my, right there, okay? So anyhow, with that being said, please comment, like, share, and give me, if you wouldn't mind, provide a little feedback, okay? Once again, I do appreciate it. Is honestly, the feedback is literally just so I can figure out if the content that I am putting out is consistent with what it is that medical students need, okay? So that's an example of the day. An example of the asking, what can I do for the moment? I was just on Instagram. I was scrolling, and it had been maybe I'm not a huge Instagram scroller, honestly, but it was like 2-3 minutes. I'm just scrolling. And then literally in the middle of it, I said, hold on. What can I do right now at this very moment that if I were to, what could I do right now I don't have this question memorized. I'm looking up at it right here. But what can I do right now such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier and or unnecessary? And the answer that I came up with when I asked myself that question is I was like, okay, just make sure that your schedule for the rest of the day is intact and smooth, right? It's okay. Do Instagram, whatever. Just when you ask yourself the question, what's the answer? Okay, go ahead, get the answer, and then go do it, right? So anyways, those are two examples. Hopefully those kind of give a little bit more clarity to things. And then the last thing I do want to let you guys know before I do let you go is this is a process. This is a journey, right? You're not going to get it first time. I'm not going to get it first time. No one is. It's something that we progressively, continuously work toward over and over. And as we ask ourselves this one question over and over, our brain, not only will we start to naturally do this and ask the question and start being able to naturally own in on the one thing that we need to focus in order to produce the best results, right? In order to make sure everything else is easier and or unnecessary. Not only do we get better at that process of just naturally focusing in, but we will get better overall at being able to answer the question in a manner that, number one, is research based, and number two, makes things easier and or unnecessary. Okay, so once again, guys, that's all I got for you. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that gave you a little bit more, like I said, explanation. Like, comment, share, and guys, let me know if there's anything else that I can do. Please provide some feedback, and we'll take it from there. Until next time, peace.